The 50-yard indoor war gains intensity tonight as 12 teams go to battle in quest of the 2001 Arena Bowl championship. Buckle up, the Arena Football playoffs are next on TNN.
He is the master of the postseason in his 10 years as a player and coach in Arena football.
All right, we should win the battle up front.
Jay Gruden has won 6 Arena Bowl titles. Now, with the formality of the regular season behind them, Gruden and his defending champion Predators are ready to begin their march towards a 4th straight Arena Bowl. Chicago isn't supposed to be here, but experienced coach Mike Hohensee lived up to the Windy City's tall expectations by finding the right combination of savvy veterans and impact newcomers to deliver the expansion rush into the playoffs in their first season. The fans began arriving early here at the TD Waterhouse Center. They've got championship rings already. They'd like some new ones. As tonight, the Arena Football League playoffs begin on TNN Sports. It is the expansion Chicago Rush against the defending league champion, the Orlando Predators. It was just 1 weekend ago at the Allstate Arena in Chicago. Ex-Predator Joe Douglas, now Chicago's #1 receiver, came up big against his old team with a touchdown reception from Billy Dicken. Meanwhile, Craig Wheelahan struggling against Damian Porter in the rush defense, throwing 2 interceptions. When all was said and done, Mike Hohensee and Chicago had clinched a playoff berth, while it was Jay Gruden, the coach of Orlando, who could not believe what he was watching. Tonight they go at it again. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Orlando. Eli Gold along with John Yurkovich. Glad you're able to join us as the playoffs kick into high gear tonight. You know, it was 1993 when this guy right here, Yurko, played for the Green Bay Packers. They wrapped up the regular season losing to the Detroit Lions. Then 1 weekend later, they began the NFL playoffs again against the Lions, and this time, Yurko, you guys came out on top. How tough for 2 teams to play one another twice within 6 days?
Tough for Chicago, not tough for Orlando. Orlando definitely with the advantage. They get to come home and play. They are an excellent team in the playoffs. They're here playing in the first round of the playoffs. Also, they're upright guys. They were beaten up last week. So this week, revenge is on their mind for the big guys, and look for the Predators to come out and play with a lot of pride and passion today.
But of course, when experience comes into play, it's Orlando that expected to be in the playoffs. They expected to be here. Chicago, they're just happy to be on hand tonight. And why is Chicago here? I mean, let's face it, how many of you folks figured an expansion team would be in the playoffs? Well, I know one guy who figured they would be, head coach Mike Hohensee. He's downstairs with Jill Arrington.
Well, you're right, Eli, and Coach Hohensee, you beat the defending champion Predators just last week to make it into the playoffs. The question is, how are you going to do it again on the road here in this rowdy crowd?
I think we got to do 4 things. We got to protect our quarterback, we got to get to theirs, and I think, you know, we got to make the big play when we have a chance to, and we just can't make any mental mistakes. We got to take care of the football.
Well, you're a new franchise, but you got a lot of players who've been in playoff contention before. 5 guys with Arena Bowl rings. What did they tell your teammates about playoff play?
Relax, go out there and have fun. You know, we earned our way into this thing. We didn't back in, so, you know, go out there and have fun with the game.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Well, when we come back on the pregame report, we're going to take a look at the surprising head coaching change in Carolina as the Cobras prepare for their playoff game against Indiana. And there's Chicago's Joe Douglas. He's going up against his former teammates, but hoping to show his stuff tonight for the Chicago Rush.
Oh, what a play!
Right sideline, has a man, touchdown!
All the drama.
19 yards, the distance between the championship and overtime. The kick is up.
All the glory.
It's good! The Orlando Predators are the champions of Arena Bowl 14.
The Arena Football League's Arena Bowl 15 playoffs. This weekend on ESPN, ESPN2, and TNN. Arena Football. Get it all.
TNN Sports live coverage of the Arena Football League playoffs is being brought to you by Ford. The best-selling trucks are built Ford tough.
Welcome back to the TD Waterhouse Center in Orlando. We're just about set for round 1 of the playoffs as the Predators try to win their 6th consecutive playoff game at home. Well, yesterday, Carolina Cobras head coach Doug Kay put in his resignation effective immediately. The Cobras named offensive coordinator Mike New as the head coach as they head for their first playoff game at Indiana this Sunday. Doug Kay Kay became head coach for Carolina last season after serving as Arizona defensive coordinator for 4 years. In his 9th season in the AFL, Kay led the Cobras to a 7-7 record this season. After a 6-3 start, Carolina stumbled down the stretch with a 1-4 record, but their fast start was enough to earn them the 12th seed and a matchup against Indiana. Mike New was one of the top young minds in the Arena Football League. He served as head coach of the Augusta Stallions in AF2 last season. In fact, he was named AF2 Coach of the Year in his only season in Augusta. Prior to joining the Stallions, New was a member of the Nashville Cats coaching staff. In '98, he was the quarterback's coach, and in '99, he was the offensive coordinator. So it should be interesting to see this Sunday how the Cobras react to that coaching change. But Eli and John, Doug Kay wasn't the only coaching change this week of the Arena Football League. In fact, 2 coaches really didn't have a choice. Rick Frazier in Milwaukee and Larry Kuharich in New Jersey were both fired as their teams did not make the playoffs. Back to you guys.
All right, Jill, one of the, I guess, unfortunate realities of the sport, though that man doesn't have to wonder with that kind of a record and another playoff appearance. Jay Gruden's not going anywhere.
And this is what they gear for all year, the playoffs, preseason. I mean, the regular season is just a formality for these guys.
Joe Douglas is the deep man, the former Orlando Predator. There you see the numbers of returns for him. Derek Stingley has been the primary kick returner, but Douglas gets the call right there. And here's David Kuhl, the veteran kicker out of Georgia Southern, a 4-year vet with Orlando. Glad you're with us. It's 1 and out. The playoffs begin now on TNN Sports. Douglas from 5 yards deep. Out of bounds at the 10. As you saw Mike New moments ago, named coach from Carolina coming out of AF2. The same with Billy Dickin last year. With the Quad City Steamwheelers, he's now stepped in after taking over the job from Jeff Lutz early in the year. And you see Dickin all the time up in your area of Chicago, Yurko. This guy's for real.
Dickin took over for Lutz and absolutely charged his team up. He's been able to come out after his 1-year preparation in AF2 and lead this rookie team to the playoffs. What a great job.
Dale Koshelski with a grab to the 14-yard line on the first release. A high percentage throw with Damon Mason making the stop. The Chicago starting offense is led by Joe Douglas, among others. The former Predator has 99 receptions to lead the team this season. And Fernell Hankton with Hutch and Stiebel up front. Hankton, the LSU veteran, 6 touchdowns this year on only 13 receptions.
A tight end that's utilized in an offense. Chicago likes to go to him in key goal line situations.
Go! Set up! From the 12, there's a strike to Joe Douglas, who breaks free and crosses midfield down to the 21, where Cliff Dell will put him down. Dell, part of the Orlando starting defense that includes that group. Ernest Allen, a dominant lineman, great quickness. That's why he's got those 5.5 sacks. And of course, the secondary, Cooper, Mason, McIntyre, as good as they have in this league. McIntyre with 31 career interceptions in the last 3 years, including those 10 here in 2001. Go! Koshelski is in motion. They go his way, he'll make the catch and then drop the football. It'll be incomplete as Mason gets to him as soon as the football was held by Koshelski, the rookie out of the Blue Hens of Delaware.
Wide receivers only asked to catch the ball. Come down with that ball. If it's thrown, it hits the hands. It has to come in and be a completion. That's going to kill Chicago. Drop passes today, turnovers. Those are the 2 things that can kill the Chicago offense.
Koshelski was a defensive back when he played at the University of Delaware. So a second down play. 2nd and 10. Here comes pressure. Down goes Dickin. It's the first sack for Curtis Eason. The first sack of the night for Curtis Eason. It will be his 6th sack of the year. He now takes over the team lead in sacks with this power move.
And the pocket just collapses. They slide to the left. Fullback doesn't pick up his block. Jamie McGurty doesn't pick up his block. Going over. Curtis Eason right up on top of Billy Dickin. Doesn't have a chance to find his receivers downfield.
And now he has 6 sacks, adding the 1 of moments ago. There you see the third down numbers on the year for Chicago. This their first try of the night. Overthrows Koscielski, but right to Damian Porter, who'll make the grab, but is going to be shy of first down yardage. He'll be shy. The throw sailed over Koscielski directly to Damian Porter out of Wayne State.
Porter with a good job of concentrating. Comes down with the catch. Billy Dicken was being pressured.
There's Koscielski. It's over his head directly to Porter. And they still got to Billy Dicken. Watch this.
A lot of pressure coming in. It's Curtis Easton again and Ernest Allen putting pressure on Billy Dicken.
Now a 30-yard field goal attempt by Peter Elezovic. He's 3 of 6 this year. Tim Carey, the backup quarterback, is the holder. No, it's a live football off the iron. It's tipped around. Battle for and covered by Orlando. It will be Predator football as Peter Elezovic. Well, now I say covered by Orlando. That was the initial indication. Although it is taken by Chicago, the play was signaled dead. And it's going to be Orlando ball, despite the fact that it was wrestled free by McGurty.
And the 5 yards were given early to Shia Burley. He had the opportunity to recover that ball. They gave him plenty of space. Then all of a sudden it was a melee for the ball. Once it was loose and wasn't recovered initially. You see 5 Chicago rush bodies. And on the bottom of that pile, Predator comes up with the ball.
So now Craig Wheelahan. The wheels kind of came off his wagon last weekend with those 2 interceptions. Here's the veteran throwing a one-hopper short en route to Shia Burley. It is incomplete. Take a look at the Orlando offense. The man he just threw to, Shia Burley, the team's #1 receiver, their #4 rusher. He returned to action last week after missing a couple of games because of injury. Allen, Ray, and McCall back in the lineup. Fred Ray, the starting center. He was discovered by the Predators in a free agent camp. And good to see John McCall healthy again. On a second down, Wheelahan throws, and there's the catch made. It'll be Cliff Dell out to the 23-yard line. The defense they're playing against for Chicago includes that group. Anthony Hutch is the starter, a 5-year vet out of Murray State. He spent the last 4 years with the Iowa Barnstormers. And Damian Porter, 12 interceptions, 20 passes broken up. Cedric Walker just acquired at the end of the regular season. And the veteran Derek Stingley. What a unit that is. Shia Burley across midfield by about a yard down to the 24 of Chicago. Damian Porter was the first man to hit him, with Tony Henderson being the next. Shia Burley, you know the story, out of the University of Central Florida, right here in Orlando. We've told you in the past he was the #1 target of Dante Culpepper when they were together with the Golden Knights of UCF. Good speed. He even ran track. Started that in junior college, so he's a blazer. The 2nd and 4. Burley complete. Porter will haul him down, saving a touchdown at the 9-yard line. So quick, high percentage passes to Burley with a flag now late being put out at the 8-yard line.
And they're going to call the face masking penalty. Last week, Shia Burley, if you can shut down Burley, the rush did a good job of doing it. They had Cedric Walker in his face. They made sure somebody was bumping him as the motion man coming off the line. They nullified him a little bit last week.
Face mask, half the distance to the goal on #1. Play results in the first down.
Jay Gruden and the Predators realize how important it is to establish Shia Burley early as a threat. They're doing it early in the game, and look for them to continue to do it.
Damian Porter guilty of that face mask, so Craig Wheelahan gets the play from Jay Gruden.
Go right flex, up, down, inside. 28 toss, edge crack. On 1, ready?
28 toss with the wide receiver cracking. They're going to bring this right out here. They're going to bring the wide receiver down to crack on the end. See if those blocks happen.
There's the pitch. Nope. They bust it right through. I mean, that wasn't even close to working. as they came in on Rick Hamilton. Fernell Hankton was all over him. And take a look from behind the defense, and you'll see where there were no blocks ahead of Hamilton.
Well, you've got to be able to block Hankton right there on the end of the line of scrimmage. If you're not going to get a hold of him, he's going to get the penetration and mess the play up already because he has outside leverage on your tackle. So poor design. I think the ex-receiver acts, and he missed his crack block coming down on the defensive end.
Hamilton, the fullback. And there's a beach ball on the field at the goal line being retrieved and tossed back to the folks here.
Very interactive fans out here. They're certainly a part of the atmosphere here in Orlando.
This will be the sixth play of the drive upcoming right here for Orlando. We're in the first period scoreless after Peter Elezovic missed a field goal. Wheelahan pumps. Everybody's covered. He throws. It's through the hands of a defender and caught by Cliff Dell. Touchdown. 7 yards. It went right through the hands of Derek Stingley. It should have been an interception, if nothing else, a pass deflection. It goes right through to Cliff Dell, and for him, his 11th touchdown reception of the year.
Wheelahan with all day to sit back and take a look at who he wants to hit. Throws the ball up for grabs. Stingley should have come down with the interception. He has 2 on the year, misses that one. Cliff Dell with great concentration, catches it, touchdown for a 6-0 lead for the Predators.
David Kuhl has only missed 5 extra points all year and still has only missed 5. So in the first quarter, here in Orlando, TNN Sports Live for the opening round of the Arena Football League playoffs.
But if that corner comes in and stays with Cy on the motion, you know it's zone. So now we got 2-on-1 backside with Cy and Cliff. Eyeball Cedric, man. You know what I mean? Either let him watch him go deep and then dump it.
Quarterback talking to quarterback.
This is quarterback talking to quarterback. You see how intense Jake Gruden is, and they're talking about Damian Porter. If you see him staying over Cy Burley in the motion, it's a zone, and they can take advantage of that zone defense.
Joe Douglas off the net from 6 yards deep, and he's out to the 4. When we talk about quarterback talking to quarterback, if you're not familiar, we'll mention again that Jay Gruden, the head coach of Orlando, was a hugely successful quarterback in this league, and he was talking there to his current quarterback, Craig Wheelahan. There's Gruden. I'll tell you, folks, we talked to Jay on our conference call earlier in the week, and he was in a downright snarly mood. And then tonight before the ball game downstairs, he was about ready to bite a bullet in half. I mean, he's into this one big time.
His mood was best described as surly. He's still surly tonight, and it continues to be surly during the game.
There's a charge by Ed Sissom, who tries the corner for maybe a yard. The former Alabama Crimson Tider gets a yard and a half, maybe 2. Chicago has begun their 2 drives on their own 10 and on their own 4. So they're not having great field position from which to start.
Joe Douglas last week with a 57-yard kickoff return. I'm sure the special teams got a chewing out during practice this week. Something they worked on extra special. They've done a nice job of coverage early on.
Flags on the play. Dickin goes down as he gets drilled by John McCall.
McCall, smartly enough, goes all the way to the quarterback to stop the play, so there's no free play for Chicago.
Defense came into the quarterback unabated. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
McCall with 3 sacks this year. Just watch big 92 in black.
He's up here, jumps off sides, smartly continues again. He gets in there so they don't get a free play. The worst thing you can do as a defensive lineman is stop. He continues on. It's an intelligent play.
It'll be a long 1 yard for the first down. Dickin under pressure. Dickin has thrown it down, and they're going to get him with a face mask. B.J. Cohen came in, and I believe in his exuberance to reach out to Dickin, he grabbed him by the birdcage. But my goodness, is Orlando's line just eating up the Chicago line.
It's miscommunication on the offensive line for the rush. Cohen coming scot-free off the corner. The offensive line and the fullback not coinciding.
Face mask on the defense. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
B.J. Cohen has excellent speed. What hurt him in his bid for an NFL career is the fact that at 6'2", 285, he's a little small for an NFL lineman.
And you can see the line slide left and the fullback go left. Cohen gets in early, but gets the grab on Dickens' face mask, costing his team a first down and a continued drive for the Chicago Rush.
They are anticipating the snap, though, and doing it awfully well, Chicago, assuming Orlando is. Quick dump. Ladd. He's to the 23-yard line. A quick screen dump out to Anthony Ladd.
The Predators got manhandled in last week's game up front. They've come out today, and they've been on fire. They've been finding ways to pressure Billy Dicken. They've been all over the field. They're pursuing to the ball. I think Coach Gruden had a little talk with them.
And, of course, what Chicago does in a play like that is one way to combat that big pass rush.
Anytime you run draws or screens, it's a way to combat a heavy pass rush. And you might see the rush go to it early and often tonight.
A.J. Blazik is in, replacing Anthony Hutz for Chicago. Pass deflected, but it gets through nevertheless. And now there's a personal foul upcoming on B.J. Cohen. There's B.J., who deflected the pass. They'll actually say he was clean, but that guy, McCall, will get the personal foul with the late hit on the quarterback.
Roughing the passer. 92. 10 yards, first down.
Well, they're taking on the personality of their coach tonight, I'll tell you that, Orlando is.
They've got to be able to control their emotions. Again, it's a quick screen pass. McCall comes off the corner scot-free. I didn't see any incomplete call on that play. They were going to call that ball lateral, and it was going to be live until the rush recovered it.
Well, because B.J. Cohen touched it.
B.J. Cohen did touch it and tap it, but the referees didn't indicate a signal. But emotions are playing a big factor right now. The Predators have to settle down. They got to be in control. It's good to play with emotion, but be in control because there's 2 personal foul penalties that have kept the drive alive for the Chicago Rush. And you don't want that to continue throughout the whole ballgame. Jay Gruden livid. He's not happy. He expects his offensive and defensive lines to play with intensity and with aggression, and he feels he's being punished right now by the officials.
The fans here are in a fever pitch. Great crowd as per usual here in Orlando. From the 13-yard line, Dicken to throw. Easy touch, touchdown. Joe Douglas, 13 yards, flag on the play. There is a flag on the play. It may be an offensive push. We'll have to wait and see if Lamont Moore might have been guilty. We may see a call against Chicago.
I think Anthony Ladd was going to be called for the pick play.
Yep, Lamont Moore was shoved and held.
Offensive pass interference. Number 18. 10 yards, previous spot, still first down.
Anthony Ladd held Lamont Moore, no doubt.
It took a long time for this play to develop. Here you see Anthony Ladd crossing the middle. He's not running the pass pattern, just the pick play. They're trying to run 2 crosses in the middle. He goes in the pick. You don't necessarily have to do it the way he did. You can get in the way, get out of the way. You still going to clear Joe Douglas to get a completion on that play. And that pass play, Dicken had all day and all types of protection.
In this series, Chicago has gotten only 3 plays off. The other 4 have been penalties. Screen, Fernell Hankton. He's to the 17-yard line. Hankton, the 14th reception of the year for him. Angel Rubio on the stop as we have a good look from our umpires' camp.
Hankton just turns, frees his defender up, tries to catch the pass, catches it, runs for as many yards as that, but the Predators were not fooled. The Predators expecting that type of play on 1st and 20. They sniff it out. Hankton, who scored 6 touchdowns this year, they're aware that he's a threat.
From the 18, everybody's covered. Dicken throws, and Douglas can't hang on. Joe Douglas was open at the 13-yard line, but the former Orlando Predator out of the University of Montana If not, hang on.
Gruden hoping this defense steps up big time. Hoping the defense can step up big time, hold them to another field goal attempt.
Right. Wing yo. 30. X slant. On one. Ready.
Run a slant pattern. Sliding the protection. They're going to slide the protection to the left. The fullback's going to go to right. Try to hit a quick slant off the top.
Up the middle, knocked away. Flag is down on Kenny McIntyre. Flag is down on a pass intended for Cornelius Bonner. McIntyre got his hand on the football, but also, as Bill Lamonier tells us, got his hand on Bonner. Fourth flag against Orlando in this series.
Pass interference. Number 28 defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
You like to call that aggressive play, but it's beginning to be undisciplined play. And McIntyre, known for his physical style of play, comes in with the backhand on Bonner. The back judge is right behind that. He has to make that call. It's right in front of his eyes. McIntyre's got to do a better job with better technique and be able to close faster if he wants to defend that pass pattern.
Meanwhile, one quarter is nearly complete. There's a penalty. Lee jumps that time. Reggie Lee, number 99. I was going to say, this quarter is almost complete. We've had one touchdown. That's it.
One touchdown.
Contact. 99 defense. Half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
The former Ottawa Rough Rider in the Canadian Football League out of Florida A&M University. My goodness, look at that.
7 penalties in Orlando. They're geeked up for this game. But part of that has caused them to play a little undisciplined football. We've had 3 possessions. This is the second possession for Chicago. First one ended in a missed field goal attempt. Touchdown for Orlando, and this is the second drive. Could end up in a touchdown for Chicago.
Douglas in motion, stops. The give, Sissom to the 1. Ed Sissom. His real name is Kenneth. His middle name is Ed, but he goes by Ed Sissom. The former Crimson Tider, a rookie in this league who played last year with NFL Europe with the Barcelona Dragons. Played in the title game against Frankfurt a year ago.
The Galaxy. I like what Mike Hohensee has done. He's settled his guys down. He's put the ball on the ground a little bit, but he's trying to get the crowd out of the game. It's not working right now, but he's settling his guys down, and they're keeping their composure.
7th play of the drive. That's a lot in this league. The fake to Sissom. The throw is over Douglas's head, incomplete. And there's a flag down. A flag on the other side of the field.
It's tough for Chicago. This is the first time Chicago's come to Orlando. The corner of that end zone, that wall comes into play, takes away about 72 square feet of end zone in that corner, and you really can't run a fade into that corner. Chicago tried to run a fade. I don't think they realized how much of that end zone is actually taken away. Oh, there's our wonderful official. But I don't think they realize how much of that end zone.
Offsides, number 9 on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Second down.
Damon Mason. There's that corner again, and you see, as opposed to being a squared end, they kind of cut the corner. It's not as bad as the Bradley Center in Milwaukee, which probably has the most unusable
end zone
areas because of the way the building is laid out. But you do lose a good bit here in Orlando as well. Last play of the quarter. Is it a TD? Sissom, touchdown, 1 yard. Ed Sissom with a 1-yard touchdown plunge. A.J. Blazek, Marcus McKenzie, and Jayton Jackson doing the blocking to spring Sissom in as the quarter ends. They will kick the extra point.
Sissom, the run play was successful early on. Sissom in a misdirection, takes it backside, goes over the top of the lighter defensive backs, scores that touchdown.
Peter Alezovic now, who is 67 of 76 in extra points. Backup quarterback Tim Carey is the holding. And we are tied after 1 quarter of play. 15 minutes in the books. That was a 7-play scoring drive. 46 yards, 6 minutes and 38 seconds. We move to the second quarter, all tied. Welcome back. The TD Waterhouse Center in Orlando, Florida. The home of the Magic during the NBA season, the Predators during the AFL season. Sia Burley bobbles it. May not be much of a run back. It is not, only to the 6-yard line. Dale Koszulski puts him down there, and when we return, it'll be only the second possession of the ball game for the Orlando Predators. We're tied at 7. Back in a moment. First quarter numbers, not terribly pretty. Heck, Orlando only had 1 possession, John.
Only 1 possession. You see the penalties allowed the Chicago Rush to score their touchdown. A third down play where they had good pressure. B.J. Cohen grabs the face mask, gives them a first down. They continue on that drive to a touchdown.
That's John Yurkovich. I'm Eli Gold. Jill Arrington downstairs. Glad you're with us in Orlando. As we begin the second quarter, tied at 7, Craig Wheelahan to throw. Looking. Bailey. Touchdown, Orlando. 43 yards to Thomas Bailey, beating Cedric Walker.
Cedric Walker in a trail technique during the whole coverage. Got a bump early on Sia Burley. Transfers the bump into coverage on Bailey. Bailey takes it all the way down the field. You'll see the bump here to the right. Wheelahan steps back, he's looking, he sees one-on-one coverage with Bailey in a trail technique, and that trail technique continues all the way to the end zone as Thomas Bailey celebrates the touchdown.
That will be the longest reception of the year for Thomas Bailey, and the second longest throw of the year for Wheelahan. David Kuhl adds the extra point, and after no scoring, we open up the second quarter with Wheelahan and Thomas Bailey putting the Predators on top for the first time. Why are these guys so amused on the bench? Because the Nebraska mascot is here. A host of they've got the big mascot games here in town this week from the Tennessee Titans mascot. They've got them from all the teams. There goes the Philadelphia Eagle one.
My old mascot, Jackson DeVille, is out there.
Jackson DeVille is here. I mean, they're everywhere. The Atlanta Thrashers mascot is here. They're all in town for the big games, the mascot games. They're benefiting a children's camp here in the area. Joe Douglas. Can he get outside? Not a prayer, but he does break a couple of tackles. And then gets hauled down by big Ernest Allen. Well, it's playoff time. That means all the brass travels with the football teams each week. Jill, who's your guest downstairs?
Well, I'm here with the Chicago Rush General Manager, Mike Politsky. We are thrilled to have Chicago as part of the Arena Football League, and I understand the guys up in Chicago are thrilled, too. You've been packing the house up there.
Well, it's been a great season for us. We started out with a small fan base, and last game of the year we had nearly 11,000. It's been fantastic.
Well, I think it's interesting and exciting that you made it into the playoffs in your first year out. Are you pleased with the team's performance?
Well, our coaching staff did a great job. They grabbed people from all over the country and put them together, and it took a while, but they finally gelled at the right time, and here we are.
Yeah, what do you think of this crowd here? You got to play in front of these guys. We'll see how far they can make it.
I hope our Chicago fans see this, because this is what we got to beat next year.
All right, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the game.
The Utah shovel pass works out to the 18-yard line. Jamie McGurty, number 33. McGurty on the receiving end of that Utah shovel from Billy Dicken. When Lee Grosscup first ran that, Billy Dicken wasn't even a glimmer in the Dicken family.
They run that little shovel pass. That's another type of pass to try to get pressure off the quarterback, Billy Dicken. They find a way to get it. They put themselves in positive field position. They're not up against the end line anymore.
Here now, Dicken again. Down he goes. He stumbles and he throws it away from while lying on his back.
Dangerous.
A rookie play that could well have been a rookie mistake. You know, the pressure that he's been under all day is remarkable. That time I think he was tripped up by one of his own linemen backpedaling. But Billy Dicken all evening long has been under huge pressure.
been under pressure by John McCall, Ernest Allen, Curtis Eason. They've all been in there taking shots on him, and they've been up around the head a little bit.
And Bill Lamagna, our referee, has just now called intentional grounding. You see, he gets stepped on by number 99. That's Riley Klein-Hesseling. And then he throws the ball away. Riley Klein-Hesseling from Northwest College of Iowa is a rookie who Mike Hohensee says may become one of the best linemen in this league before it's over. But on that play, he stepped on his own quarterback's foot.
You don't want to be doing that. Dickens certainly has to think twice before he does that again in today's game. Keep the ball in your arm, take the sack, live to fight another day.
Go!
Koscielski in motion. Dickens throws. Koscielski comes back to it. It'll be short of a first down by about a yard. And Koscielski is hurt. McIntyre and Bailey sandwiched him, and Koscielski still trying to check the license plate of the trucks that just ran him over.
Klein-Hesseling's playing offensive line. He cut the linebacker blitz, and here we got Koscielski coming out in the pass pattern, does a nice curl, finds a soft spot in the zone, lands on the football, then takes a shot to knee. I don't think it was a shot by McIntyre. It was the defensive lineman coming down, putting a knee in the ribs that might have caused him to lose a little wind.
Or the fact that he was lying on the football, then he got fallen upon. Either way, it's not pleasant. Third down play. Pressure! And he breaks free. Running for his life, and he'll lose all the way back to the 15-yard line.
Anthony Ladd beat Damon Mason early on that pass pattern.
Curtis Eason got through, big number 93. Rick Hamilton, number 42.
Dickens couldn't find his pass pattern. He's been under pressure all day. Good there, the pressure continues. Hamilton takes him over to sideboards. Make sure that Dickens realizes it was him who sent him over the boards.
So now a 51-yard field goal attempt by Peter Elezovic, who from this distance this year is 0 of 10. He has missed all 10 field goal attempts of 50 yards or longer. Here's his 11th try. And he may break it. No, he's now 0 of 11 from 50 yards out. Shia Burley taken down at the 17-yard line by Tim Carey, the quarterback. So a 51-yard field goal, no good, though it had plenty of leg for Elezovic.
Tim Carey was in hot pursuit. He was the holder on the play. He was trying to hunt up, and he found his guy, Shia Burley. He looked aggressive there. It looked like a former defender, and I don't think he ever played defense.
Here now, Craig Wheelahan leading his Orlando Predators to the line, and they're up, as you see, by a touchdown, an extra point. Quick release, Burley to the 23-yard line. Hey, folks, a chance to go to Arena Bowl 15 is just around the corner. We'll give you the details. You might want to grab a pencil and paper. We'll give you the details about how you can win a trip to Arena Bowl 15 coming up in just a bit. It'd be great to see you there. A personal foul against the Orlando Predators.
It's the third personal foul called on the Orlando Predators.
How tough to be oversight for a ball game,
Personal foul, number 94 in the offense. After the play was over, 10 yards, second down.
I mean, you made a point earlier. Aggressiveness has seemingly gone over the line, and it's now starting to cost them. How tough to get this juiced up?
Well, you want to play with aggressiveness, but stupidity has cost them a touchdown earlier, and that's what you get with personal fouls. You're going over the top. You've got to learn to keep your emotions in check, especially in a big playoff game like this. The Predators have gone over the edge on 3 different occasions. They've got to settle themselves down. They're up 14-7. They can't continue to give the Chicago Rush second chances.
Wheelahan to throw. Burley, he's got it, but not good enough for a first down. He'll be about a yard shy. Damian Porter hit him. And Wheelahan, he comes up limping. The backup quarterback is Chris Wallace out of the University of Toledo. Should he be needed, Chris Wallace, who broke all sorts of quarterbacking records in college. He is the backup. Oh, and he got undercut right there.
He gets rolled up on by Anthony Hutch. He just rolled up and tweaks that ankle a little bit. It's caught in the turf. It's planted to throw. Hutch rolls up on him. That Wheelahan's a tough kid. He'll get up and he'll play.
Needing a first down here, Sia Burley. Nope, not going to get it. It's going to set up a 4th down now. Orlando on the year is 7 of 15 in 4th down conversions. That is 46.7%. They are 7 of 15. They only need a yard.
Stingley and Walker there to make the play.
Can you get it? Yeah, let's go. Let's go left yo-yo. Quarterback sneak wedge on 3.
Wheelahan said quarterback
go
sneak.
Left yo-yo.
Gruden said I think it's too far.
Wedge on 3. Ready?
They're going quarterback sneak wedge. They're going on 3, trying to draw the rush off sides. This offensive line will get in there, make the wedge. Wheelahan will dive over the top for the first down.
There he goes. He does have it for the first down. The football also came loose, I thought, for a second. But Wheelahan does fall on top of it behind the blocking of Cal Dixon and Reggie Lee. Take a look at what Paul Perking, our umpire, saw on that play.
He had to get out of the way quick. Nice surge by the Predator offensive line. They manhandle Marcus McKenzie in the middle. He gets a little high. They move him back. They get the first down. But so far, the Predator offensive line has had the better of it today.
Inside handoff to Rick Hamilton. He gets down to the 18-yard line before Cedric Walker comes up to stack him. Still can't believe that Cedric Walker was available. There's Walker. I mean, when he was in Arizona, he and Cecil Doggett were to Arizona what McIntyre and Mason are, for instance, here in Orlando. And for Walker to be available.
Cedric Walker had 15 tackles last week. Instantaneously took over as a leader in the Chicago locker room.
6th play of the drive. Wheelahan at Bailey with a nice grab down to the 6-yard line. Nice spinning move. Cedric Walker comes up to make the stop. As Walker a little perturbed. You're right, Walker, he'd been with the team a week and he'd already called a couple of player-only meetings, which is the first ones that Chicago had had all year.
And they called a player-only meeting on Wednesday before they came down here. And Walker, they're playing a lot of zone defense, Chicago. You see him drop into his deep third, covering his side of the field, his third of the field, breaking up on Bailey. They want to give up nothing deep, give up the short stuff. They'll break up on the short stuff, just trying to force a field goal. 15 tackles last week, a meeting called Wednesday to tell the guys to focus on today's game.
Meanwhile, Wheelahan now. He was incomplete on his first pass. He has hit the next 9 in a row. Now the next 10 in a row as Bailey gets him down to the 3-yard line. So Wheelahan, after starting in a shaky manner, now gets them all in line. By the way, see where Junior Lord of the Predators, now with the Green Bay Packers, got the call to join them earlier this week. So our congratulations to Junior.
Coach Green scratching his head saying, hey, I want to keep my guys for the playoffs. Don't be depleting my roster right when we're getting ready to go for the big dance here.
Number of guys moving around. Everybody's on Burley that time. That fooled nobody as he had to come a long way.
Burley is such the focus for the Chicago Rush defense. You'd almost want to fake him something or take it back the opposite side and have him pass the ball into the end zone. Because the Chicago Rush, they're the focus of it's the focus of their attention, Sia Burley, whenever the possibility comes where he might have the ball.
By the way, we talked about Junior Lord going to the Packers. A couple of guys from Oklahoma moving on too. One, Lamont Cooper.
Lamont Cooper's getting that call.
Yeah, good. Brian Goolsby, the fullback, also getting the call to the NFL. Wheelahan throws. Oh, wide open and dropped by Bailey. Wide open and dropped. Klein Hesselink came in and drilled the quarterback. Wheelahan, who's just now getting up.
Magnified in the playoffs. Thomas Bailey drops a ball. The third possession. He's got to be able to come down with a big catch like that. He's a veteran. He's been in the playoffs before. Right in the hands Bailey makes the mistake of letting the ball get to his body. There's the pressure on Klein Hesselink. He's been fine. He's been able to put consistent pressure on the quarterback all day. 24-yard field goal attempt by Cool. And they have to settle for 3 instead of 7. So it's now the Predators on top by a 17-7 score after a 9-play drive. Gets them a field goal. Welcome back, everybody looking on. The folks in the upper deck have the binoculars going as they get set to watch the upcoming kickoff. Joe Douglas is the deep man for the Chicago Rush. And he'll bring it back off the net. Big hole. Accelerates. Jumps over David Cool. He's to the 7-yard line. My goodness, a 48-yard run back. And he did the high hurdles over the kicker, David Cool. Finally, Brett Cooper put him down. Predators' first 3 kickoffs, they've been able to pen him in down at the back at the 5-yard line.
Watch this move over the kicker.
But Joe Douglas gets the ball, finds his seam, breaks it through. Great blocking. You don't see a Predator defender. And there he goes, the high hurdles, a la Lynn Swan in the Superstars competition, right over the top of the kicker. Gets as much yardage as he can with 4 Predator bodies hanging all over.
From the 7 of Orlando, there's a jump. It'll be a free play. They'll throw it into the end zone. Out of play, out of bounds, and incomplete. As Orlando jumps, it'll be the 8th flag on the Predators here tonight. An offside call upcoming on Orlando.
Offside, 94 in the defense. After distance to the goal, still first down.
Angel Rubio out of the University of Florida. And Jay Gruden says the reason he jumped is because Dickin is doing that. He's showing what the quarterback's doing to try and draw everybody off.
That old John Elway head bob Billy Dickin is. It was enough to get Angel Rubio off, but they're not going to call that on the quarterback. They want to give the quarterback as much freedom and as much license as possibly they can to let him do any types of things to get his offense moving.
Ed Sissom, the fullback, has 3 carries for 8 yards and a touchdown. Now he gets the pitch. He'll lumber to the goal line. Does he get in? No, he does not. He'll be shy by about a half a yard. A.J. Blazek with a great lead block, number 50 in white, trying to lead Ed Sissom to the promised land. There's Blazek.
Coach Hohensie running the misdirection, sends Tuchelski in one direction, sends Sissom in the other with the rest of the team, but just short. But I love the play design because it causes confusion on the defensive side of the ball for the Predators.
Chicago only averages 12 yards a game on the ground. Sissom already tonight alone has 11. There's the pitch behind the block of Tuchelski. Does he break the plane of the goal line? No. No, he does not.
Tough running down low when you're close to the goal line. Angel Rubio down with an injury. But you see how many bodies in the mass of humanity down there. One guy just happens to miss a block by a little bit. The Predators are all over him. Damon Mason all over the top of him. Cunningham all over the top of him.
Oh, and you can see, and he's saying, wow, and oh, Angel Rubio, the rookie. While they tend to him, why don't we break away and take care of a little business? At 6'2", 300 pounds, he is hurting. We're back in a moment. Angel Rubio, the difference here is he goes directly to the locker room. You saw that concession stand there. Yurko would have stopped at the concession stand first.
Oh yeah, would have stopped for a pretzel and a cold one.
He's got 1 tackle. Meanwhile, from the goal line, Sissom, the fullback, and there's the pile driver over Jim Stiebel, number 55. Big Curtis Eason just came over top of Jim Stiebel in a WWF maneuver.
Encroachment, 93 with contact, after distance, third down.
Oh, Stiebel drilled by Curtis Eason.
Eason with that ball right in front of him, you'd expect him to be the one who could see the ball and go on movement. That's what they're taught. When the ball moves, you move. Here Curtis Eason, he's in that bulldog stance, just getting ready to fire out. Jumps the gun a little bit early. Could have been called for a personal foul penalty, taking that the first down.
From a half yard away, there he comes again. Now, is Stiebel moving the football, or was that just the 10th flag of the night on Orlando?
That's just the 10th flag of the night. Not only that, you've got to start to call a personal foul penalty. If it happens once, you can understand. If it happens twice, he may be doing that intentionally, trying to get the QB center exchange to be problematic, because when you get run over twice, you tend to short arm next, thinking you got to get your hands into the guy.
93 with contact, half the distance, third down.
There's nothing to lose.
Yeah, cost him a quarter of a yard.
Yeah, quarter of an inch, if you will. That ball's right down there on the goal line. I'd be jumping off sides every time and planning on a fumble. The one time I don't jump off sides.
Curtis Eason out of Tennessee State.
Going Tampa left. Wing no freeze. Bounce right on three. Ready?
Now you wonder what Stiebel, the center, has to be thinking. He says, is this man going to come over top of me again? And now there are whistles. The play clock was at 10, so that's not a problem.
Timing rules in effect for the remainder of the first half.
1 minute timing rules. Nobody but the officials, thankfully, watching the clock. So the 1 minute timing rules mean that each team has 3 timeouts remaining, and the clock will now stop with incomplete passes, with the moving of the chains and so on, just as you're used to seeing in the NFL in the stadium played game.
I wonder if Chicago's going to seek retribution when the Predators get the ball. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Chicago defender go right up over the top and clean the clock of Craig Wheelahan on one of the first plays.
Yeah, it's like a pitcher throwing a brushback pitch.
Yeah, a little chin music, if you will.
Vernell Hankton raising his hand, you see. He says, I'm an eligible pass receiver. Sisson is the fullback. Douglas, the wide receiver, in motion, stops. There's the gift to Sisson. He'll follow the beef, and he's in for the touchdown, his second of the evening. Ed Sisson with his second rushing touchdown of the night behind Stiebel and Hankton.
Sisson lowering the head, pulling forward. Stiebel with a good block in the middle on Curtis Eason. Then he comes on to take Damon Mason on too. Tommy Dorsey trying to get a hand in there, but the offensive line for the Chicago Rush win this battle at the goal line.
Great explosion there. A lot of work at the point of contact.
And Sisson drives all those bodies through into the end zone.
Extra point is good by Elezovic. So with just 56 seconds remaining in the half, it's Orlando on top 17-14. This, of course, just the first of the playoff games of the weekend. Jill, why don't you fill everybody in on the schedule for the weekend?
Well, tomorrow on TNN, record-setting quarterback Aaron Garcia and the New York Dragons will take on the Eastern Division champion Toronto Phantoms. The second game tomorrow is Detroit and Arizona. That'll be on ESPN. It should be interesting to see if Ironman Hunky Cooper and the Rattlers can make another strong playoff showing. And wrapping up this weekend's action is Carolina and Indiana on ESPN2. The last time the Firebirds had Eddie Brown in the playoffs, they won Arena Bowl 13, so we'll have to watch and see.
And of course, folks, if you're not familiar with the format, these are the games this weekend. But the top 4 seeds, Grand Rapids, San Jose, Nashville, and Tampa, they have this weekend off. They have the first round byes. They will be hosting the survivors from this weekend in next weekend's action, which we'll have here for you on TNN. What do you think that guy's got? And is it curable?
Whatever he's got Darth Maul-itis.
He's got Predatoritis. He's a big-time fan of the Orlando Predators. Sia Burley is deep. Short kick gives Burley some trouble. And the rush will give him even more trouble as the football came loose, but the play was already dead in the end zone, apparently.
Burley aware of the fact that he needed to keep that ball on the positive yardage, not take that thing into the end zone for what possibly could have been a safety.
So they'll say he was down at about 1.5 yards out. Hey, Jill, how is Angel Rubio doing? What's the report from the locker room?
Well, I talked to the medical staff. They think it might be a fractured ankle, so they took him to the locker room for x-rays, but he said it's got to be broken. It's got to be broken. He's in a lot of pain.
I bet. Just, they hate to see that.
You know, and you hear it internally. You hear something go in the body. As a player, you know when that something happens.
Wheelahan throws. Complete. Bailey. He's to the 22-yard line. Hey, folks, if you want a trip to the Arena Bowl, well, in honor of the Arena Football League's 15th anniversary, the AFL is honoring some great standout players, and we're asking you guys to vote for the 15th anniversary all-time team. There is no purchase necessary. You have until the 31st of the month, only 4 more days. All U.S. residents 13 and over are invited to log on to arenafootball.com. Vote for your favorite player and maybe win a trip to Arena Bowl 15. Odds of winning all depend on the number of entries received. Void in Puerto Rico and we're prohibited by law. Arenafootball.com. Check it out. High throw. Cliff Dell couldn't bring that one down as it sails up into souvenir country. There's the lucky family that'll take that pigskin on home.
Wheelahan upset with himself after that throw, a little bit high, tosses it out of bounds. Got to be able to hit your open wide receivers when they're there. He's 11 of 14. He's been pretty effective today, and the best thing he's done is he hasn't thrown an interception today.
Threw 2 last week. One was a very bad read on his part. One was a bad call. What Jay Luke said. I'll take responsibility for the second one. Burley with a flag down. Stingley wrestles him to the ground at the 15-yard line. But there's a flag down with an illegal defense call. The indication against Chicago.
Illegal defense, number 40. He's out of the box. That penalty's declined. First down.
Dale Kishelski. Take a look from behind the defense so we can show you. There he is, 40 in white.
There he is right here, and he needs to stay within the box, in between the tackles, in front of the umpire, the 5 yards. You see him starting to waver. The quarterback's not scrambling, and he just got outside the hash mark. That's why they called the penalty.
Wheelahan. Here's Dell with a flag on the play. There's going to be a little hold. I'll tell you though, it could go both ways. Both teams were guilty of holding. The back judge, Bob Taylor, explaining to the referee, and they'll call it on Derek Stingley, apparently. He was closest to the vicinity. We'll listen in.
I've got sympathy for those yellow flags today. Yeah. Being thrown all over the place. They got little turf burns on them.
Defensive holding. 24 on the defense.
Yep,
that penalty being enforced. It's an automatic first down, half the distance to the goal.
The 4th flag on Chicago. Timeout taken by Orlando. It's going to be their first. Of course, Derek Stingley, the son of the famed Darryl Stingley. I asked how his dad's doing. They're doing just fine. That was good to hear. Jill, what's got coming up for us in intermission?
Well, we're going to take a look at the Big Four teams, the teams that have those first-round byes, and you can bet they're watching this weekend's action. We'll also take a closer look at Sia Burley. He might be new to the league, but you could never tell if you watched this play. And, of course, Eli and John will give you the stats from the first half here, so stick around for my halftime report.
All right, we will do just that. By the way, the Arena Football 2, AF2, the developmental league for the Arena Football League, has added another team this week. They're up to 34 now for the 2002 season. A team in the Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area of Pennsylvania is going to have a franchise. They're going to play at the First Union Arena up there in Wilkes-Barre. And you see who's going to be in the ownership group?
No, who's that?
Some guy by the name of Unitas.
Johnny U?
Yep, there's Greg Smith, who's the president of Smith Sports International, and Johnny Unitas, who is a Pennsylvania native, and of course, a Hall of Famer. And word is that the Arena Football League will have something like 219 teams by the time they start next year. Well, maybe not quite 219, but they're going to have like 38 teams, something like that. It's great. We'll talk more about that in a couple of weeks. We'll have that Arena 2 championship game for you. Craig Wheelahan now from the 9. Wide open, Bailey off his fingertips. Incomplete. Or at least Lamont Moore. I said Bailey, it was Lamont Moore. Originally signed by Nashville last year, then ended up in the AF2 with the Augusta Stallions, just off his fingertips.
The ball goes off the top of Lamont Moore.
Watch him fake a screen here.
They fake the screen, and they're going deep to Lamont Moore, who faked the block. Goes off the hands, off the net, and Koscielski almost comes down with the interception right before the end of halftime. Would have been a huge play.
Lamont Moore, remember, he was a starting quarterback when he played at Baylor. For you Bears fans, remember that? There's the throw incomplete, and Burley was interfered with by Stingley, number 24. Fifth flag on Chicago.
Stingley defending himself against Sia Burley. Burley runs right into him, tries to push off. He hangs on a little bit. He gets called for the penalty. He's asking, why isn't Sia Burley being called for the push-off? I've got to hold on if I'm going to give myself a chance.
Holding 24 in the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Of course, now, folks, you see the time remaining. Watch the bottom of the screen. You see 24 in white? He's already got him right there. There's no question. He tried to pull free 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, he's got him hog-tied down there. Not much defense you can have for the defensive backs. They're being victimized back there, as are all big defensive backs, as are the Predators when they're on the other side of the ball. That's just the life of being a defensive back. Not many calls go your way.
Sorry, Darryl, we had your son on that one. Down low, could not hang on to the football. Sia Burley as they tried the screen pass, and now they're going to say the play is still live, and it's covered up by Chicago.
We saw that earlier where they didn't signal an incomplete pass. The referee kept his eyes on it the whole time, didn't signal incomplete, called it what it was.
Meanwhile, Curtis Eason is injured for Orlando at the 8-yard line. He's in bad pain after they've already lost Angel Rubio, and Jamie McGurty came up with that football. Number 33 in white, McGurty. But I'm telling you, folks, Jay Gruden's got some problems now. He's just got John McCall back from all sorts of injuries. He's lost Rubio, and now he loses 93 in black. And then now on that replay, you also see that was a lateral. That was a lateral. It was not a forward pass.
And McGurty
that makes it a fumble and a live football for McGurty.
And smart, McGurty and Koscielski trying to get on top of that. They saw the official wasn't signaling incomplete pass. That signified the fact that it was a lateral. I saw that earlier in the game on the official on the side, wasn't signaling incomplete pass. It happened a second time. This time the ball stays in play, and the Chicago Rush, they pounce on it for a big turnover right before the end of the half.
There you see Curtis Eason, who led Orlando with sacks last year, leads them in sacks this year. What a critical loss that would be if he could not continue.
Trade right. Wing yo. 60 Sting, got to shoot the goal, and the wing backside Sting coming across the field. Okay, they may go too safety here. If they do, read it.
Mike Hohensee, the head coach, himself a former quarterback. Great at the University of Minnesota, and he threw the first ever touchdown pass in the history of this league.
Mike Hohensee's been around the NFL for a long time, started as a player, now as a coach.
He's been with the Washington Commandos, the Albany Firebirds, the Anaheim Piranhas, with the New England Seawolves, and now with Chicago. Time remaining, just 8 seconds till halftime. Dickin throws. It is caught, and a timeout, and a flag. A flag. It is Dale Koscielski who makes the grab. Then Damon Mason comes in. Dickin wants the timeout. And the personal foul on Orlando.
Number 4.
Another personal foul on Orlando.
4th personal foul on Orlando. That'll take the ball to the 21-yard line.
Easy to reach the end zone from there.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 9. Tack it on to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Watch the late hit.
Chicago, timeout.
Dickin throws the ball all the way across the field. Great grab, and they didn't feel he needed to put all that in there. He wasn't getting up. He wasn't trying to run. They expected Mason just to touch him down, but he wanted to bring the wood. He laid it in there. He got penalized for it. Gives him 10 yards. 0.7 seconds left. You have to go for a field goal here.
Or do you? I guess you have to. I mean, or otherwise just throw it up and see what happens. But Elezovic from 45 yards, that's what he's looking at, the former Michigan Wolverine place kicker. Elezovic is only 1 of 6 from this distance this year. Peter Elezovic, he has spent time with the Washington Redskins and at the NFL Europe with the Rhine Fire. A former Wolverine from 45 yards out of the hold of Tim Carey to tie it at halftime. It curves back and it's good. We are tied at halftime on a 45-yard field goal by Pete Elezovic. 1 play, 8 seconds on the drive, and we go to halftime with that man spitting bullets and that man smiling. 17 all. Jill is up next. She's got the halftime for you. Then Yurko and I come back with all the numbers. And what should be a great second half. Stay tuned. Back to Orlando with Jill right after this.
Welcome back to the first round of the Arena Bowl 15 playoffs on TNN. After 30 minutes of action, Orlando and Chicago are all tied up at 17. Well, because of their outstanding play so far this season, Grand Rapids, Nashville, San Jose, and Tampa Bay all have first-round byes. There are 8 other teams in action this week, and you can bet the top 4 are at home watching, scouting the competition. Grand Rapids rode the strong right arm of Clint Dalzell all the way to the top seed in the playoffs this season. After spending a year away from the indoor game with the Chicago Bears, Dalzell came back to the AFL and picked up where he left off. This season, the tall, lanky Texan once again threw 80 touchdown passes and led the Rampage to their best season ever. Michael Tripp's club is an amazing 9-0 this season in games decided by 10 points or less. This toughness will be key during the playoffs. The top defense in the league helped earn Nashville the number 2 seed, led by defensive linemen Ben Crossland and James Barron. The Cats beat up opponents all season long. They were the only defense to hold opponents under 40 points. They led the league with plus 22 turnover margin. Those are 2 keys to winning football at any level. The Cats played as well as anyone at the end of the season, winning 4 straight. Also, Pat Sperduto's club enters the playoffs with a chip on their shoulder after losing last season's Arena Bowl on the final play of the game. Another team with something to prove is the number 3-seeded San Jose SaberCats. Last season, the SaberCats entered the playoffs as the number 1 seed, but they were stunned by the Nashville Cats in the semifinals. San Jose is led by their outstanding quarterback, Mark Grieve, and a talented stable of receivers. If superstars Steve Pappen and Sam Hernandez can come back from injuries, the SaberCats could make a deep run into the playoffs. Rounding out the top 4 is the Tampa Bay Storm. Coming in second place in the powerful Southern Division is nothing to be ashamed of, especially considering how many key injuries the Storm endured. Quarterback John Kaleo and offensive specialist James Bowden both missed an extended period of time, but with both back and ready for the playoffs, the Storm is one of the teams to beat. Stick around for more of our halftime report. When we come back, we'll take a look at Orlando's offensive specialist, Sia Burley, and the impact that he's had on the Predator offense this season. Right now, the Predators and the Rush are tied at halftime. Stay tuned. We'll be back for more action right after this. Welcome back to the TNN Arena Football Halftime Report. We're in Orlando, Florida, where the hometown Predators are tied with the Rush at the break. Well, this season, one of the top newcomers to the Arena Football League is offensive specialist kick returner for Orlando, Sia Burley. He leads his team in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, including 4 kickoff returns for touchdowns, and he's a candidate for AFL Rookie of the Year.
I just play my game. I feel like I can dominate if I do that.
the limit for Orlando Predators rookie Sia Burley, who's come into the Arena Football League with high hopes and great expectations after being bounced around the NFL. He wants his first season to be a memorable one and has already made an impact on both the league and his team.
I have a vital role in the offense, and I want to come out every game and try to dominate and be consistent and play to my level, and I have high expectations of myself.
The defending champions started off slowly this year, but with the help of Burley as the offensive specialist, they've turned things around and are once again in the hunt for the title.
Sia's been huge for us. He's done a great job of getting open for me. I have a lot of confidence in him.
Well, Burley didn't have to travel far to find his niche and gain that trust. A former Central Florida standout and teammate of Minnesota Vikings quarterback Dante Culpepper, Burley's been turning heads for a number of years, making himself the #1 target for quarterbacks.
When you have a receiver that can make plays, whether it be just a 5-yard hitch route or a deep route, a guy that's going to make plays, and you have confidence in it. When you drop back, you know, you're either going to get a score or you're going to get a big play out of him.
He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he runs great routes, has great hands, and we're expecting a lot of big things from him.
At 5'10", he's not the biggest guy in the league, but he plays big. He's a true competitor and knows he's got to be on his game every time he steps onto the field. And the intensity he plays with goes a long way, making him a big threat to opposing defenses.
A lot of defenses are focused on me. So to do anything positive, I have to be really focused in the game, intense, and try to make things happen anytime I get a chance to.
Well, Chicago tied the game at 17 at the end of the half with a field goal, and the Rush are looking for an upset of the defending champion Predators. Stick around, there's more after this.
Tied at 17 here at the half. We were tied after 1 quarter of play as well, as we welcome you back to Orlando. Eli Gold, John Yurkovich, glad you're able to join us here opening night of the Arena Football League playoffs on TNN. This is a game that has had, I mean, you're waiting for a hockey game's bench-clearing brawl to kind of start. That's the feel this evening has, doesn't it?
It might happen in the second half. A lot of surliness out on the field. Curtis Easton piling over the center. A lot of guys, a lot of chippy play, a lot of personal foul penalties. And yeah, it might happen in the second half. We might see a little fisticuffs.
And you talk to the fans up here. We're situated right in the middle of the fans, and they're coming by and saying, you know, Orlando's going to mess up and lose this ball game. The fans are a little bit on edge. Take a look at some of the first half highlights. See what we're talking about, because there have been some big plays, but also a lot of weirdness going on. A lot of tip right there, right to Cliff Dell.
Tip by Stainer, then Thomas Bailey being Cedric Walker on the touchdown pass.
And now Joe Douglas, former Predator, coming right back to do to his team what he did to the rest of the league over the years, hurtling over the kicker. And now here's Peter Elizabeth, ends the half with that kick from 45 yards to tie us at 17 all. And that's an ugly stat sheet.
Predators, a lot of passing yardage, but not much being done. This one turnover right here, right before the half. Predators looking to take a 10-point lead going into halftime. Turnover, field goal going back the other way. We've got a tie game, 17-17.
Now, folks, our crew did great work during the half, finding about 10 seconds of sound that the whole family could enjoy out of the Orlando locker room. Take a listen.
And we fumbled a swing pass. That's how we got stopped, gentlemen. The plays are there, let's make them. It's the playoffs. Let's make the plays. Do your job and make the plays that you're supposed to make.
We will let you fill in. You see the way he's getting on his team? That's what went on in the locker room at halftime, and regretfully we weren't able to bring you much of the commentary.
The team is playing down to the Chicago Rush. They feel they have a more talented team. They're not showing it on the field today.
Jill, how about injuries? Eason and Rubio, what's the latest?
Well, Curtis Easton, he has a knee injury, but he will be back in the game. Angel Rubio, unfortunately, looks like a broken ankle. He's out for the season. And Chicago's A.J. Blazek, he has a severe knee contusion, and he's out for the game.
So the big guy's fallen off the metal. That's a live football. And then it goes out of bounds. Sia Burley covered it after it did go out of bounds, but a scary moment right there, because that is a live football.
It's live football once it comes off the net. Burley had troubles early in the year coming down with it, but he's done a lot better in the second half. Take a look at what quarterbacks have done. 70 yards only for Dickin. Wheelahan 152 and 2 touchdowns. No touchdowns for Dickin.
The Chicago TDs have both been runs by Ed Sissom, each of 1 yard in length. Craig Wheelahan, quick release to Burley. Leaves a man behind him, Damian Porter, and finally Dale Koshelski will put Burley down. I'm betting, and I don't know for a fact, but I'm betting in that the Chicago locker room, Coach Mike Hohensee probably didn't have much to say. I'm betting it was Cedric Walker, as vocal a leader as he is, albeit a new member of the Chicago roster. I bet you that guy there kind of hushed up for the most part and let Walker do a lot of the talking.
Well, Walker's become the leader on this team.
Quick release again on the screen. That picks up a couple, maybe 3, but enough for Burley to earn the first down behind the block of Brett Cooper. In this game, if you're new to the Arena Football League, normally you see 1, 2, 3 play drives. They go a minute and a half, 2 minutes, end of story. Tonight, Orlando gets, the Rush gets a touchdown of 6 minutes and 38 seconds to drive. Orlando gets a field goal after a 6 minute and 25 second drive. He had a 4.5 minute drive. Most unusual. That's something you see all the time in the stadium played game, but not here indoors.
You see that in playoff Arena Football.
Look out in the front row, and the guy with the beer comes up with the beer and says, hey, you guys can have the football. I'll look out for the barley pop.
Whatever.
Hey, I got my priorities. He's got his magic hat on. He's got the beer in hand. He said, I'm not dropping the $6 beer to pick up a $42 football.
I'm holding on to that with his life. You take a look at that. He looks like he's a little bit thirsty. He looks emaciated over there.
No mirrors in the Yurkovich household.
Funhouse mirrors only.
Wheelahan to Cliff Dell, who's run out of bounds at midfield by Cedric Walker.
Wheelahan's confidence being built. 3 quick completions. Start of the second half. They're settling everything down. They look like their emotions are in check. They're coming out and they're just going to play solid football.
Third down numbers, you see. Nothing yet this evening.
Go to the left grip. 32 poles, V wheel. On 1, ready?
Wheelahan sends his man in motion. It is Burley. Everybody's covered. Then they break open and throw. It's intercepted by Porter. Damian Porter on the interception of Wheelahan. Porter's going to bring it back. Absorbs a hit and is taken down by Hamilton at the 14-yard line. The 3rd interception in the last 2 games for Craig Wheelahan, and that man has just been driven a body blow. Jay Gruden cannot fathom what he is seeing 2 weeks in a row against expansion Chicago.
Cedric Walker hits Zaya Burley on the line of scrimmage. Wheelahan decides he wants to go across the field to Cliff Dell. Damian Porter's sitting there waiting for that throw. Gets in front. I think they messed up Craig Wheelahan's read progressions with the bump of Zaya Burley at the line. He had a receiver running a post across the field that was open. He chose to go to Cliff Dell. Mistake. First big mistake of the game.
31 yards on the run back by Damian Porter. Dickin looking. Man is overthrown, incomplete. He was trying to find Joe Douglas in the corner of the end zone in double coverage.
Mason and McIntyre bracketing the wide receiver, giving it that the throw has to be absolutely perfect from Billy Dickin for that ball to be able to get squeezed in there between both Mason and McIntyre. That zone coverage, when you get help from your cornerback, it's tough to complete a ball in between.
Straight range right. Wing loop. 360 stop. 8 go. On one. Ready.
The former Purdue Boilermaker quarterback, Billy Dickin, led Quad City of AF2 to a 19-0 record on the championship last year. There's a throw to Douglas, who holds on at the 10-yard line with Mason. On the hit, Damon Mason, a great tackler. Matter of fact, he had 426 tackles in 4 years, that man does. 347 in the last 3 years. You want to compare what Mason has done in 4 years? Barry Wagner is the all-time league-leading tackler. Has 562 tackles in 10 years. Mason 426 in just 4 years. Everybody jumps. Oh, and another hit away from the ball. You saw that, 92, John McCall. And Chicago is just now derisively cheering the Orlando destruction.
You heard Jay Gruden at halftime. Settle down. Play football.
That'll be the 12th flag on Orlando, if indeed it goes that way. It may be flags each way. Or in the worst case scenario, both would be against Orlando if you're a Predator fan.
And Jay Gruden has to have a feeling that there's a conspiracy against them. Brett Cooper asking his team to use their heads.
There's the first flag, and here comes the personal foul, the second. They're both against Orlando. That is big, folks. 13 penalties now against Orlando.
It's the 5th personal foul penalty against Orlando today.
First foul is for 92. He's offsides, unabated to the quarterback. Also enforced half the distance to the goal. The personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 92. That's an automatic first down.
So John McCall hitting the daily double.
John McCall has to regain his composure. You've lost 2 defensive linemen, or 2 linemen to injury already. Yeah. John McCall can't afford to be tossed out of this game. You'd leave the Rampage short-handed on the line if that would happen. You regain your composure and go out and play football.
No! 13 penalties to only 5 for Chicago. Sissom is replaced by McGurty. He'll run it into the end zone. Touchdown behind Reggie Lee. A 2-yard touchdown run by Jamie McGurty, who replaces Sissom at fullback. And all of a sudden, Chicago has rushed to a 6-point lead.
They run the 27 toss. They're coming around. They're going to crack down here. Run to perfection. You take a look. Crack on the end. Crack on Mason. Just get hands on bodies.
Hey, did you see big 99 Riley Kleineslink? What a great lead block there.
Nice job of blocking, getting his hands in there, getting the body in, and putting a hand on somebody.
So the interception by Damian Porter leads to the touchdown and the ensuing extra point. And folks, you could hear a pin drop in this building if not for the PA announcer. 3 plays and Chicago's on top. Just like the Predators, their fans are hemorrhaging just a bit. Hey, how about these kickoff returns? Sia Burley has had trouble 3 times tonight, Yurko, fielding the football cleanly off the net. That's unlike him.
The offense has struggled all season. Sia Burley, they depend on him to catch those kickoffs cleanly and get the positive yardage and put him in good field position to start an offensive drive. He hasn't been able to do it today.
Let's see if he fields this one cleanly. No chance. It's through the slack net. And what they're doing right there is taking Burley's returns out of the mix. Over the year, he's had 63 returns, averaging 23 yards per run back, 4 touchdowns. And tonight, he's been taken out of the equation, at least in this respect.
They've been able to neutralize him on kickoff returns, and they've put a man on him. Cedric Walker's the guy, bumping him at the line of scrimmage, throwing the timing off on the pass patterns. They had some success earlier in the first half, but they've been able to come back. Last 2 possessions for the Predators, 2 turnovers, one right before the half, and the interception by Damian Porter.
Both times in the half, Orlando starting from their own 5. There's an incomplete pass as Cooper tried to play it off the carpet. Couldn't do so. Boy, look at that. It's like anything in football, Yurko. You can't turn the ball over.
In their 8 wins, 14 turnovers, 6 losses. A whopping 22 turnovers. That's 2.667 turnovers per game in their losses. too many, Eli.
I'm impressed with your math.
I got a 27 in math on my ACT, Eli. Very proud of that.
I guess. How many times did you take that?
5 times.
That's not bad. Here's Wheelahan from the end zone. Flag is down.
Should be a safety.
And he's across midfield to the 23, but there's going to be a hold on Rick Hamilton. All of that is coming back, and that should be a safety on a hold in the end zone if that's where they call it.
I see Coach Hohensee, he's signaling for the safety. The quarterback's in the end zone. If the hold takes place in the end zone, I think they're going to call a safety. But if the referee calls the holding was not in the end zone, he may not rule it a safety.
Offense, number 42. Half the distance to the goal. Second down.
Oh, that's tough one.
But nevertheless, it negates the huge gainer by Wheelahan. Let's see where, though, you're looking for 42 in black, the fullback. Let's see where he is.
McGurty goes over the top of him, and
he was shoved into the end zone, and that is probably going to say why they called it at the 1-yard line. Wheelahan. There's a flag. The grab is made by Brett Cooper. And now that was a hold, I thought, in the end zone, depending on how they call that one. This could have been another hold in the end zone. Illegal defense they're going to call. They're going to call illegal defense. The 6th flag on Chicago.
That pressure got there quick. Mike Hohensee not happy with the call. Thought there was another holding, maybe a safety coming for him, but no.
Illegal defense, 33 outside the box with an outside rush. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And that's who was held, but the play was illegal on the part of Jamie McGurty.
The linebacker has to rush in the A-gap opposite of which gap the nose tackle chooses. The nose tackle gets one A-gap, the linebacker must rush in the other A-gap. If he rushes outside, they call that an illegal defense and they throw the penalty flag. And that A-gap is the gap between the center and the guard.
There's a completion to Cooper out to the 13-yard line. Damian Porter stops him there. Man, you could have knocked me over with a feather if you told me that in the 3rd quarter of this one, we're looking at a 24-17 ball game. With this kind of score, this kind of offense, they ought to be playing it down the street there at the bowl.
At the Citrus Bowl.
At the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, you'd expect. This is playoff atmosphere. This is playoff style arena football.
But still, you don't forget what you do normally, and that's put 60, 70, 80 points on the board.
As the time keeps ticking off the board, every play magnifies. Every play becomes more important.
There's a first down catch.
Mistakes get even bigger. And you see the players, they get affected by that a little bit. And you've seen some decisions out on the football field, like when Wheelahan threw the interception to Damian Porter, and the play that ended up being a lateral where Chicago recovered. These plays just end up being huge.
Yurko, I mean, you played in both the AFC and NFC championship games. I mean, is this just media talk, or did the players really approach things and play differently?
Well, you have to approach things and play differently because of the one-and-out theory. There is no tomorrow if you lose. So you've got to tighten the bolts. You've got to make sure everything's set before you go out and play in this type of game.
What a great catch. Nearly an interception. Hamilton's going to rumble inside the 5 to the 4. That was inches from being an interception, but equally as impressive was the catch. Sissom finally slows down Hamilton after a 21-yard pickup.
Gruden and the Predators throwing caution to the wind. They send all 5 eligible receivers out in the pattern. Hamilton down the sidelines. The tight end running a vertical pattern up the seam. The 3 wide receivers left, all running patterns. They're throwing caution to the wind and say, hey, we've got to get ourselves some points. We've got to find a way to turn momentum, and that's one of the ways to do it.
Rick Hamilton, the MVP of the Arena Bowl 3 years ago. And boy, Anthony Ladd was within inches of at least deflecting that one away. Looking for Burley. He's covered. They go the other way to Bailey, and it's incomplete. And that time, Fernell Hankton lowers the boom. Or at least Anthony Hutch got in on Wheelahan. Watch the pressure by 82 Hutch.
Boom. Wheelahan looking left, looking left, looking left. By the time he comes back right to Bailey, Hutch is right on the doorstep, ready to knock Wheelahan down. Just had to get rid of the ball, forced the ball to be a little bit off target to Bailey.
Hutch is a good one. Even when he was in college at Murray State, he was an all-OVC player in both his junior and senior years.
He's a racer.
There's a ball deflected by Stingley and intercepted potentially by Walker, who couldn't come up with it. Oh my goodness, Cedric Walker nearly had the gimme off the deflect by Stingley.
We talked about plays being magnified. Stingley gets a hand in there on the Wheelahan throw. The ball goes right by Cedric Walker, right past his fingertips. Gives him a third down opportunity to put the ball into the end zone. There's a play you could circle right now and say, this might be huge. This might be huge at the end of this ball game.
Now Tommy Dorsey has just come in at fullback. He will replace Rick Hamilton. Dorsey is a big one and a good one. Bailey's in motion. Everybody's covered again. And there's a front row souvenir. Anthony Hutch and Ed Sissom were in on the quarterback, Craig Wheelahan.
Dorsey came in and he missed his block out on the perimeter.
So now it's a kicking situation. Should be a gimme for David Kuhl. But a 21-yard field goal was not what Jay Gruden and Orlando had been hoping for. The holder is the backup quarterback, Chris Wallace. That one pounds in off the metal. That one nearly missed. And he's still not happy. Jay Gruden still trailing late in the third. Mike Hohen sees Chicago rush, still up by 4, trying to pull off a stunner of an upset here in Orlando. During the timeout, Orlando coach Jay Gruden, and I paraphrase here, got in the face of his quarterback Wheelahan and said, "What is wrong with you? You're missing every read out there." We'll follow up on that. But first, Jill is caught up with a guy who didn't miss too many reads during his quarterbacking career.
That's right. I've got an Arena Bowl MVP here. Connell Maynard's the quarterback with New Jersey. His season's over, but he's down here for a little vacation with his wife. What do you think of this? Is it hard for you to be watching this playoffs without playing?
It is, because my first 7 years in the league, 5 of those years I was in the Arena Bowl, acting the Arena Bowl, so just not making the playoffs is hard for me, but I'm just glad to be here.
Well, you're an ex-Predator. What does Orlando need to do to get back into this game?
They got to get some stops, and they got to get some execution on offense. They get the ball in the end zone, get some stops, they'll be all right.
All right, well, we'll keep watching. Enjoy your time off. Back to you guys.
My brother Craig and Dave at home.
All right, there you go. Back to you guys.
Billy Dicken finds Dale Koscielski at the 11-yard line with that reception. Damon Mason is the cover man. I don't know if you ever saw Connell Maynard, Yurko, when he was here in Orlando. That man can play ball.
I got to see highlights of him play, and he looked a pretty effective quarterback. When I saw him leave the Orlando Predators and go on to New Jersey, I said, well, how are they going to be able to replace him? How are they going to be able to replace him? Well, 4 quarterbacks later, they finally have replaced him here in Orlando.
From their own 10-yard line, Dicken loads up, looks, finds a man, all the way for a touchdown, Cornelius Bonner. 39 yards, beating the glove, Kenny McIntyre.
We got a penalty flag down on the play
in the end zone
after the touchdown had already been scored.
39 yards. Billy Dicken to Cornelius Bonner. It'll be Bonner's 9th touchdown reception of the year. For those of you just joining us, we welcome you to the TD Waterhouse Center in Orlando. We're in the third quarter of the playoff game. Jay Gruden checking the replay. Can't believe what he sees. I'm Eli Gold with John Yurkovich, Jill Arrington. Glad you're able to join us here on TNN Sports. And remember, coming up tomorrow, another first-round playoff game on TNN. New York at Toronto. That's tomorrow. After the touchdown, as we will translate for you, we have unsportsmanlike conduct, too much celebration on Chicago. So they'll mark it off right here But look at this 39-yard pass reception.
See Bonner just running a post play. McIntyre in pursuit, but he's outside coverage. He's not over the top. He can't make a break on the ball. Bonner runs it all the way across the field. Dickin puts the ball in the spot. Touchdown for the Chicago Rush.
Now a long extra point attempt at 28 yards. And Elezovic drills it right down Church Street. Well, folks, we've got a story going on here in Orlando. The expansion rush trying to oust the defending league champions by beating them twice in a week's time. They've got their Predator headgear going, and they need to get into it because Chicago's up. That football hit the scoreboard. That kickoff hit the scoreboard, so the football's going to come out to the 20-yard line. The scoreboard is as close to the roof as is possible. They lift it higher for a football game than they do for an NBA game or anything, and still the ball was hitting the scoreboard. Look at the last drive. The last possession for Orlando, the problem Wheelahan had.
Wheelahan's had pressure. It's been affecting him because he's made some poor decisions, some poor throws. Coach Gruden has been on him. He's asking him to read the defense, go out there and see it. He's broken it down for him, and now he's hoping he can recognize it and make the right throws in this drive.
Little confusion there as the Predators broke the huddle. The former Charger quarterback finds Sia Burley, and he's inside the 15 to the 14-yard line.
Good recognition there. Wheelahan saw the bump early. The defender had to bail. There's the bump early. Burley comes across the field. They don't pay attention to him because they're playing a 3-deep coverage behind them. And then Cedric Walker helps make the tackle.
See the time remaining as we near the end of quarter number 3. Orlando needs points on this possession. It's intercepted! Intercepted with a flag down! Intercepted by Cedric Walker. He'll run it back to the 16-yard line. But there may be an illegal defense against Chicago.
A lot of discussions on what the call might be. Illegal defense, somebody out of the box.
Cedric Walker, that intercept is negated. My goodness, what a break for Orlando. Dale Koscielski.
On the defense, returns the ball 5 yards, previous spot, automatic first down.
I think Koscielski, number 40, might have been the guilty party.
Yeah, there's no twisting allowed between the center and the nose tackle.
Watch 40.
Here he is right here. He's going to twist with either the defensive end or the nose tackle. And it happens on the defensive line between the nose tackle and the defensive end.
Yeah.
They switch positions. He went out here. They end up switching positions. They called that really a mistake made on the defensive line's part. The nose tackle a little bit too active, got too far outside. Koscielski, we blame for that, but
not really him.
Yeah, it wasn't him at all.
It happened directly in front of him.
Yeah, the defensive line twisting on the line of scrimmage.
As the quarter ends here in Orlando, Mike Hohensee says, guys, let's think. We're in the fourth quarter, and it should be ours. It's going to be a dandy. Chicago, 15 minutes away from a huge upset. Coach Mike Hohensee of Chicago's Rush trying to deny Orlando a trip to the end zone. Welcome back, Eli Gold, John Yurkovich, Jill Arrington, Craig Wheelahan, number 17. You realize, folks, as we begin the fourth quarter, you realize the last time Orlando scored a touchdown was the first play of the second quarter when they threw that 43-yard pass to Thomas Bailey. It's a long time ago in this league. Dell stumbles to the 5. The flanker screen. That's the way the night's gone for Orlando. They make a completion. The guy stumbles across the line.
He's got an avenue for the end zone, and he stumbles across the line. John Gruden is 8-1 in the last 3 years of the playoffs. that one loss coming in, the Arena Bowl, this would be a shocker, an absolute shocker if the Rush were to pull off an upset of the Predators.
Now Orlando looking at a 3rd and goal. They are 0 of 4. They have not converted one today, as now we have another beach ball on the field. Referee Bill Lamagna retrieves it, and play will resume here. There's the offending sphere. Big 3rd and goal. Wheelahan pops, fires, deflected off the net. It's live. It's Chicago's ball. It's Chicago's ball. Dale Koszelski playing it off the net. It is Chicago ball off the deflected pass, which then hits the net. It remains live in the Arena Football League, and the Rush have the football back.
We've seen a couple of near interceptions dropped by the Chicago Rush. See Wheelahan with the pump fake, goes back, a hand gets up, be it a Predator hand or a Chicago Rush hand. Koszelski sees the ball and he attacks and he comes down with it. Second big interception, 3rd big turnover to happen to the Orlando Predators in the scoring zone, in the red zone, right when they're ready to score.
Looked like Shia Burley was the guy who tipped the football. And now Billy Dicken. Look at those turnover numbers. Dicken throws, pass deflects away, incomplete. So do you come back with Craig Wheelahan again, or do you go with this guy, Chris Wallace, who is now warming up in the bowels of the arena here in Orlando? Do you come back with a man with limited playing time, or do you go with Wheelahan, who we heard Jay Gruden say earlier, you're missing all your reads, and now he's been picked 3 times?
Gruden's been patient with Wheelahan. He's talked to him. He's tried to talk to him. He's been disappointed with his play. Told Wheelahan as much, and it looks like Wheelahan's going to get the hook.
2nd down for Chicago. Flag is down. Pass is incomplete. With all of that scrambling, there was probably a hold somewhere in the interior. No, they're going to call an illegal defense. They're going to call an illegal defense.
That many bodies, defensive bodies going in and out there, you can't help but get a twist involved in there somewhere.
Defense.
Yep.
Number 92. 5-yard penalty. Automatic down.
John McCall guilty, and do you know that is now the 15th flag against Orlando?
Take a look at McCall right. Here's the infraction. It's just a mean stunt. The defensive tackle goes first. The end comes around. That's why you saw that pressure. It'll give them a 1st down.
My goodness, what a huge play that was.
Give the Rush a 1st down. Give them an opportunity to kill a little bit more clock. They're trying to drive down and add some more points. The Rush, they seem to have the advantage right now. Go!
Koszelski in motion. Dicken goes to McGurdy on the screen. The fullback screen to the 21-yard line.
You gotta like that hitting. Take a look at those bodies. Guys over there trying to strip balls.
You're just salivating, big guy.
I'm taking a look. I love the intensity. I love the hitting. I love the shots that are being taken. The fact that we've got 11:30 left in the 4th quarter. The Predators are down by 11. They've got to find a way to get the ball back. They haven't been able to do it all game. They haven't been able to force a turnover. They're trying to unsettle the Chicago Rush. And you expect a guy like Kenny McIntyre, the glove. He's intercepted 10 balls this year. You expect him to be able to step up and make a big play.
We've barely mentioned his name tonight.
We've mentioned his name. He's been chasing wide receivers in coverage. He chased Bonner into the end zone on a play.
Now, the way things are shaping up, of course, it's tough to predict what's going to happen the rest of the weekend. But if Chicago happens to pull this upset here tonight, and if everything else goes according to Hoyle, if the higher seeds win all the other games, then Chicago would be part of our telecast next Sunday in Grand Rapids.
Van Andel Arena.
But of course, you could see Carolina, having to try and pull off an upset at Indiana. Anything's possible this time of year. Dicken looking, throwing wide open, touchdown, Joe Douglas. And a flag is down, a 28-yarder. What a cheap shot that was against the former Orlando Predator. Joe Douglas and Damon Mason. Looks like the WWF has come through the building. I mean, there are bodies strewn everywhere.
You throw a shot like that, you do risk injury. You see the padding he already has on that elbow, and that's what he fired. He fired the right arm across the top. The ball was caught by Joe Douglas in the end zone. He had 2 feet planted, and Damon Mason came across and just cold cocked.
Watch it after the catch. All right, there's the touchdown. Now just watch.
Boom! Right to the head, a shot to the head.
Way to treat your former teammate. The touchdown and the personal foul. The half the distance to the goal is the part you heard, as the battery has been so overused on our referee mic tonight, what with the inordinate large number of penalties against Orlando.
It's the 6th personal foul penalty on Orlando.
16th flag altogether as Peter Elezovic adds the extra point. Folks, Chicago is up by 18 in a bid for a huge upset here in Orlando. Joe Douglas, touchdown and the facial. Welcome back, 38-20. Chicago late in the 4th now, or midway through the 4th, trying to pull off a huge upset here in Orlando. They are indeed repairing the referee's microphone. His battery has run down after all of the penalties. So while they make him into the ever-ready bunny, let's take a look at the schedule. New York at Toronto, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 on the coast here on TNN tomorrow from the Air Canada Center in Toronto. Detroit at Arizona on ESPN, 7:30 tomorrow night. Then Sunday afternoon on ESPN2, Carolina at Indiana. And heck, if Orlando can go down to defeat potentially here at home, nothing's sacred in this league anymore. Isaiah Burley is deep. Orlando needs a run back by Burley. They may not even get a football. Brett Cooper has to cover that one. That's what the 4th time that Burley's had trouble tonight. Of course, Elezovic did some nice kicks. It's not Isaiah Burley necessarily.
Elezovic's being able to put it off the iron, able to put it off right next to the iron where the bounces are a little bit difficult and funny, and Burley's had trouble handling them.
And here's Chris Wallace, who broke records that stood for 8 years at the University of Toledo. This is the 14th game he's appeared in, or 15th, but he's usually in just to hold on kicks and the like. Here he's going to load up and look for Cooper long. Overthrows him, incomplete. Overthrows him. Craig Wheelahan, that is why he is out of the ball game. 2 TDs in the first half. 2 clean intercepts here in this half. Chris Wallace this year, 26 of 51. Those are his passing numbers, including that incompletion of seconds ago. He's been intercepted once. He's thrown for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. Everybody's covered. Wallace unloads it to Cooper, and he is drilled at the 8-yard line. Stingley comes up to hit Cooper after the reception. McKenzie and Klein Hesseling were the guys who were hassling Chris Wallace. Wallace, when he played at the University of Toledo. Oh, and now we've got an injury for Chicago. That's Tony Henderson, the lineman. Offensive lineman, defensive lineman, Tony Henderson, the 6th-year veteran out of Michigan. He's in pain.
But Kel Dixon got a shot on him from behind right at the end of the play. Sent him sprawling to the turf.
Already we've seen Angel Rubio and Curtis Eason go down for Orlando. Now Tony Henderson, who played 4 years in this league with Arizona, last year with New England. He was with, there's Angel Rubio, who's already come out of the locker room. And he is trying to cool down.
They had a makeshift cast on his leg.
There's that looks like they're getting ready to FedEx him to the hospital.
Yeah,
where they've got
like
that.
They broke off 2 goalie sticks and just put some tape around it and said, here's your cash. Rubio, one of the first of 2 linemen to go out of the game for the Predators.
Curtis Eason was the other. And here's Tony Henderson now trying to work out the after effects. A 4-year letterman at the University of Michigan. He was a second-team All-Big Ten when he played for the Wolverines. And right now he's the number 8 tackler on this Chicago football team, including 4 sacks. So if he is lost for the rest of this night or potentially next week, if they do advance, that'll be a huge, huge hole to have to fill for Mike Hohensee.
Tony Henderson, he's a victim of that chippy play that we've seen on both sides of the ball. Got a late shot in by Cal Dixon, gave him a little shove in the back, sent him sprawling to the turf.
And now they have called timeout. You see Bill Lamonier calling a timeout. It was, I would assume, a timeout to try and give him moments to recover and stay in the ball game. If you're not familiar with this league, if you are substituted for, you're done for that quarter.
Not only that, A.J. Blazek has taken his pads off.
Right, Blazek was injured earlier in the ball game.
And now they're coming back out with his shoulder pads with the jersey on, and he's trying to put his pads back on because he would be the substitute going in for Tony Henderson.
Yeah, they're bringing pads back out. There's Stiebel, number 55, but they are bringing them. Everybody's looking up into the stands.
There he is right there with
there's
the ice.
Blazek. That's Blazek being worked on by the trainer there.
Okay, don't roll it up now. Just strip it back off and get Blazek back in the game. Don't sit there and try to be too fancy.
But Henderson's going to stay in and give it a try. Now you figure they got to draw a play up to go right at Henderson. Everybody jumps. But with 2 guys going at once, you'd almost think that the center, Allen, might have moved the football. Or somebody might have moved. With 2 guys jumping at the same exact instant.
Sorry, snap. 95 offense. False start.
Yep.
After distance to the goal, 3rd down.
All right, folks, how many penalties is that? Have you been keeping tabs at home? We have to bring in the tote board again.
I'm thinking St. Patty's Day, 17.
17 penalties on Orlando. That's the tie for the 2nd most number of penalties all time in a playoff game. How about for Chicago? They don't have too many penalties tonight. They've got just 8. It's not a small number, but it's nowhere near 17. Sidearm completion. Burley bouncing off the wall, but he came down out of bounds. The play was dead after the completion as Stingley and Burley part relatively peacefully.
You see how the benefit of the doubt is going toward the Chicago rush. That play could have drawn a flag, but it didn't. Wallace drops back, takes a look at the field. He's scrambling a little bit more mobile than Wheelahan. He finds Burley on the sideline, keeps his feet in bounds.
His foot was out of bounds, a second movement there.
When he went to drive down the field, he replanted and stepped out of bounds.
Mike Hohensee, head coach of Chicago. Chris Wallace at quarterback. Throws. Dell. Completion. Then spins backwards. Will they give him first down yardage? Let's see where Anthony Ladd gets him. No, now there's a flag coming in. A flag is thrown well after the play, after Anthony Ladd made the stop. Ernest Allen is pleading the case for the Predators.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 95. 95 is ejected from the ballgame.
That is it for Ernest Allen. Now, folks, we've seen this all night. We said there's a hockey-style bench-clearing brawl due. Ernest Allen is now gone, ejected. Angel Rubio is out with an injury. He's ejected. Allen is. Rubio is already out with an injury. Curtis Eason out with an injury. That's 3 linemen now lost to Jay Gruden.
Not the intelligent thing to do if you're Ernest Allen. Why would you do such a thing when you're already short?
And folks, Ernest Allen is their number 5 tackler. He's got 6.5 sacks. He has forced a fumble. He's recovered a fumble this year. He has a safety already. I mean, he's good. That is the 18th penalty for a loss of 91 yards. That's huge if you were playing outdoors.
And if you're down by 18 points, the last thing you want to do is lose a lineman like that who's going to help you. It's not going to help anymore.
Cal Dixon is now the center as Wallace throws incomplete. Riley Klein-Hesseling was the man chasing the quarterback. And the fans are now littering the field with debris. The fans have littered the far side of the field. You see all that field of debris. No, they did not just score the third goal for a certain player. This is not the hat trick. This is an unfortunate exhibition by disgruntled fans.
They've got the local law enforcement community here from Orlando making their way down the aisles. It's a danger.
The referee has now gotten on his microphone asking for game management to help. See the referee down here. There he is. And he is making a... And now they're going to call... They're throwing penalty flags against Orlando for lack of control.
We've seen 2 bottles make their way down from the upper deck. The last thing you want to do is ask the fans not to throw them, because that's the first thing that's going to be flying out is those water bottles.
Of course, what has happened now is that they have thrown 2 penalty flags against Orlando due to the action of the fans. And usually you just hear the PA announcement, but nothing happens further. This time they have thrown 2 flags against the crowd here at the TD Waterhouse Center. And maybe the fans...
Sportsmanlike conduct. That's charged to the crowd, half the distance to the goal. Second down.
And the Orlando Predator fans, some of the best in the Arena Football League, they just got a couple of bad apples here in the crop. And they're spoiling it and spoiling the reputation of all the fans here, the wonderful sports fans in Orlando. But they cost their team. The fans cost their team a penalty. Number 19, by the way, Eli.
And that is now the record for Arena Football League playoff penalties in one game. Wallace throws to Burley. He gets back to the original line of scrimmage, the 20-yard line. If you're just joining us, let's mention that Chicago in white has 2 timeouts remaining. They've used 1 already to keep Tony Henderson in the ball game, the injured lineman, you might remember. Orlando has not used any timeouts yet here in the half. But Chicago, an expansion team, seeded number 11, trying to pull off a major upset. Wallace runs it, pays the price at the 23-yard line. Anthony Ladd, along with Jamie McGurty.
Wallace is going to have to find a way to be patient in the pocket and find his receivers down the field. They're going to allow Wallace to get 3, 4, 5 yards of crack. That does not bother the Chicago rush. What's going to bother them if Wallace sits in the pocket, finds his receivers, and makes the play. You see Orlando's 1-1 already in 4th down conversions. They've got a 4th and 6 here.
How huge is this? This could be the ball game. Wallace, nothing to his left, throws to his right. Man is open, caught at the 3, down to the goal line. Touchdown, Brett Cooper. 26 yards from Chris Wallace.
Again, Wallace's mobility helps him, and it helps him escape. He's celebrating a touchdown with Brett Cooper.
How massive was that? They were looking at a 4th and 5. If they didn't make it, it could be the ball game, and they come up roses.
And you notice where he hurt him from. He scrambled a little bit, but he stayed in the pocket. He finds Cooper on the sidelines. Cooper dives in for the touchdown. It's a 38-26 game. It looks like the Predators are going to go from 2 points, trying to bring it to within 10.
But folks, if you're new to the game, look at that clock. It continues to run until the conversion is done. A unique rule to the Indoor Arena Football League. Hamilton for 2. He's not going to get there. He is denied at the goal line by the guy who was injured moments ago. Tony Henderson stops Hamilton at the goal line. So with 5:14 remaining, Chicago acting like the monsters of the Midway. Welcome back, everybody, as Orlando's David Kuhl gets set to kick off. We were just talking up here, Yurko. I don't think I've ever seen a flag actually thrown on the crowd for misbehaving as we saw here tonight.
It's the first time I've seen it as they set up for the onside kick.
I've seen it threatened for years. There's a loose football, still loose, and covered up by Joe Douglas of Chicago. There's a flag down. We know what happened. That was a double kick attempt.
That was intriguing. I've never seen that type of an attempt before.
I have never seen that again.
They faked the kick left.
They faked the kick left and kicked it up the right side, to right center. And I think that might have sent the teammate offside.
It either sent a teammate offside, or if the Chicago Rush crossed that 5-yard line, they could be guilty of illegal procedure.
Bill Lamonier says, all right, guys, what did we just see?
It's as big of a mystery to me sitting up here.
David Kuhl faked the kick one way is what it looked like, then kicked it the other way, but did a stutter step as he got to the goal line. They're going to call it against Chicago.
Yep. It's going to give them another chance to do an onside kick.
And Mike Hohensee says, no way, their behavior drew us off.
The receiving team was offside. That's the only play in arena football that will get a re-kick. We will have a re-kick.
Good call and explanation by Bill Lamonier. Watch it again. Kuhl fakes that way. There's the swing and the miss. Then comes this way. And technically, he never touched the ball. Nobody on his own team was offside. The only guys who moved were the team in white, expecting that first kick to be a real one.
In Chicago, the Chicago Rush, they crossed that 5-yard line, expecting to block some of those. The kickoff team that was coming down, they were going to block them so their own team could recover. Well, they're in the same situation again. Onside kick looming with 5:10 left. Oh, yeah.
That one is fielded by Hoon. Well, we'll have to wait and see who comes up from underneath that scrum. It's going to be Chicago ball. Folks, Orlando had every shot at that football. So did the Rush a couple of times. And Chicago's Fernell Hankton, number 87, is the hero as they've got the ball. Chicago does at the Orlando 14. Now, what do they do? Does Dicken just go quickly for a TD, or do they run some time, Yurko?
I'd run your normal offense. Dicken has been very effective today, only had 17 attempts.
You know, 13 completions have gone to 7 different men.
He's been able to spread it around, and unlike Wheelahan, he's been able to read what the defense is giving him and getting the ball out to the receivers that are open.
Hankton on the screen. And that'll be his second catch of the evening. Play loses yardage, but it does keep the clock running. Marcus McKenzie and Anthony Hutch were the men who pulled to the right to try and lead Fernell Hankton on that screen.
Left. So range left. HO. 30 stop H-hot.
Thought I heard a 37 toss or 37 pop.
Range left. HO. 30 stop H-hot. On one. Ready? Look quick, guys.
They're going to run the H-shot. They're going to run a quick hitch pattern on the bottom here to Kashevsky.
Play clock at 3. There's Kashevsky. He'll make the grab, and he'll get back to the original line of scrimmage. And we're getting darn close to the point now where Orlando's going to start thinking about some timeouts being expended here.
They've got 3 of them left. A lot of clocks ticking off. If they go down by 19 with 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes left, that's plenty of time to be able to come back and score 3 touchdowns. We've seen a lot of one-play drives in the games we've done over the years.
Sure.
I should say over the years. So the time is a little bit of a factor, but Gruden wants to save those timeouts for the end of the ball game when he thinks he's going to need them.
Here's a big 3rd and 7. Looking off the hands of Kashevsky, deflected away, incomplete. 40, Kashevsky thought he was being interfered with by Damon Mason, but no. So now Peter Lezovic will be called upon to try a field goal.
Dickin looking down the field. He sees Koscielski. Damon Mason, always a physical player, always a hands-on player. Just gauges himself to Koscielski. Finds he's close, goes in and helps make a play.
This is a 29-yard field goal attempt by number 8, Peter Alezovic. He's 3 of 5 from this distance this year. It's just off the near hash mark. For the former Michigan Wolverine, it's a gimme. 3 more points for Chicago's rush, and we have just 2.5 remaining. 3 points will work. The rush up 41-26. There is Shia Burley. He needs to do something. He needs to ignite what has been a dormant Orlando offense. Only 26 points scored by the Predators tonight, as Alezovic's kick is off the net. Handled cleanly this time by Burley. Oh, is he ever drilled by Anthony Hutch and Fernell Hankton. My goodness gracious.
Hello.
There is Jay Gruden, a great coach. Shia Burley is down. Gruden going for another Arena Bowl. They did it in '98 behind the running of Rick Hamilton. They won the Arena Bowl in '99. Barry Wagner led Orlando to a first-round upset of the top seed Tampa Bay. And then it was David Kuhl last year hitting a field goal to give the Predators another Arena Bowl title. But folks, tonight we are seeing that man's team about to be upset. The only time in Orlando history they were eliminated in the first round was in August of 1996 at Arizona, when the Rattlers won 65-48. And that one instance of history might be repeating itself here tonight as Shia Burley shakes off the after effects of that huge hit. Boy, he's way off his average, Yurko.
Usually he's averaging 226. Today only 147. They've been able, in the last 2 games against Shia Burley, they've been able to neutralize him by putting a man in his face, and then either being Cedric Walker or Damian Porter, getting his shot on him early and trying to disrupt the timing. They've done it, and they've done it effectively today.
Bailey, the motion man. Wallace throws one hopper, incomplete. Incomplete as he looked for the motion man, Thomas Bailey.
Well, you have to go deep. Gruden's looking at the clock right now. He's talking to Chris Wallace. He's got to make a decision. His clock has just run down from 158. It's at 143. You need 2 scores, 2 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion to tie. He's only lost once in the playoffs. He's 8-1 in the last 3 years, with his 1 loss being in the Arena Bowl.
From the 5, Wallace. Put down by Sissom at the 2. It'll be a sack for Ed Sissom. As you see the time remaining, Ed Sissom playing himself a huge ball game tonight. He already has 2 touchdowns on his 6 carries and a sack right there.
It's a fancy little spin move by Sissom as he rushed the quarterback. Got right by Rick Hamilton. Pounced on top of the quarterback, Chris Wallace.
And the 1-minute timing rules are now in effect. That man's team, Chicago, has 2 timeouts remaining. Orlando has 3. Orlando has scored 7 points in the opening quarter. They scored 10 in the second, only 3 in the third, and 6 here in the fourth. They are 1 of 7 in third down conversions. I mean, Chicago has done everything to neutralize Orlando tonight, and the Predators themselves have just not played well. Bailey, the motion man. Wallace throws complete. First down as Koscielski will chase down Bailey at midfield.
Former Predator quarterback, Cannell Maynor is in the building. I have a feeling if Jay Gruden could have put him in, got him in uniform and put him in as quarterback, he'd have been pleased. Was not happy with Craig Wheelahan all day. Wheelahan struggled. Chris Wallace is struggling.
Orlando takes timeouts. It is their first. They have 2 remaining. As Mike Hohense's team is 52 seconds away from an upset.
do not let them score. You tell them, do not let them score.
I wonder if Vince Lombardi, Paul Brown, Joe Gibbs, and the likes made it quite that simple, but you understand. Wallace running for his life and throws that one away. It nearly was picked off. They're looking for Lamont Moore. So down to 46 seconds remaining. If you're curious about Arena Football League upsets and playoffs over the years, since they expanded to 12 teams in the postseason, this would be the largest upset, with number 11 knocking off a number 6. Back in '99, Orlando was the number 8 seed, and they knocked off number 1 seed Tampa Bay. But this is huge. When you walk in, you beat them last week at home to just get into the playoffs, and you come down to their place and knock them out of the playoffs. There's Burley. He's down to the 13, maybe the 12-yard line. 40 seconds to go.
Chicago Rush have impressed at the way they've been able to come in. They've kept their poise. The Predators at home haven't been able to keep their poise.
They stop the clock while they move the chains in the final moment. You'll see Wallace just spike it, or in this case, throw it away. Incomplete. You're just joining us. Orlando jumped out 7-0. The game was then tied at 7-all. Next thing you know, Orlando's up 17-7. As you'd expect from a team that's won world championships in this league over the years, and many a division championship. But since that 17-7 lead, it became a tie at halftime at 17-all. Then Chicago took the lead on the third quarter after Wheelahan was intercepted by Damian Porter, and Jamie McGurty ran it in, and it's been all Chicago since then. Bailey in motion. Wallace looks, throws off Bailey's hands, incomplete. Or at least Moore again, Lamont Moore. Moore wears 19, Bailey wears 18. Got him crossed there.
This game is eerily similar to the game played last week. Orlando jumps out to a 28-14 lead.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden turnovers become a big factor. The Chicago Rush come back and win. Today, Orlando's up 17-7. Turnovers become a big factor, interceptions, and now they find themselves down 41-26 after only scoring 9 points after halftime.
Yurko, when we signed on at 8 o'clock Eastern, we talked about your experience in '93 when the Packers and the Lions played twice within 6 days. Your Packers lost one and won the next one in the postseason. Wallace looks, throws, intercepted by Chicago. That, my friends, will be a huge pick. The second interception of the night, and that is going to put the nail in the proverbial coffin, and that man feels like he could just wreck.
Chris Wallace dropping back. They're not really trying to rush him. They're just maintaining. They're putting their hands in the air, doing jumping jacks.
And everybody stays in the box, you'll notice. Nobody got outside, and here comes Porter flying across for the interception. And Mike Hohensee says, folks, we are going to live for another week. As Billy Dicken now brings his rush to the line of scrimmage in what is now an empty TD Waterhouse Center. There's a flag. That's going to be the 20th penalty against Orlando. It's Curtis Eason who's back in the game.
Contact, 93 defense, 5 yards, still first down.
Remember, he was banged up early, and he's come back now. 20 penalties. It is a new playoff record. So, Yurko, how tough really for Chicago to win 2 in a row like this over Orlando, following up on what you and I talked about earlier?
Yeah, it was tough for them to beat them in Chicago. I didn't think they had much of a chance. I thought the Predators had every advantage. I thought they'd be able to bring their emotions to this game. They did, but mostly it was bad emotion because it caused a lot of penalties. 7 personal foul penalties in the game, unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. So, I mean, it's insurmountable, the odds that they face, but they were able to come down here. They played disciplined football. Dicken was able to lead them. He was able to distribute the ball to a number of receivers. not have the turnovers. And it's so cliche you say turnovers. If you stay away from them, you win games. But clearly the turnovers were a big factor today, especially before half.
Blow them up,
when they were able to stop Orlando from going in to make it a 10-point game, and they came back, kicked the field goal to tie the game up at 17.
See the clock stopping there when the team that's leading does not get any positive yardage. Sissom got none the first time. There he does get positive yardage, so the clock will continue to run unless anybody chooses to stop it. Orlando says, I'm going home. Jay Gruden says, I'm going somewhere. The season's over. What an upset. What an upset. Mike Hohensee and his Chicago Rush, an expansion team. Although now, truly, with a full year of experience under their belt, are they still really an expansion team? The label sticks, and Chicago's going on to play next week. Orlando's going home to an off-season of questions. They are dancing and celebrating. The Chicago Rush is, as they have defeated Orlando tonight 41-26 in a huge upset. Now let's take a look at our Built Ford Tough plays of the game. The best-selling trucks are Built Ford Tough, kind of like quarterback Billy Dicken of Chicago. He's built tough.
Billy Dicken was able to avoid the rush all day, took some pounding early, was able to sit back and find his wide receivers and play well enough today to lead the Chicago Rush to a victory.
Damian Porter with a couple of interceptions. He is a tough one as well. So at the end of the season, Ford will be awarding the Built Ford Tough Player of the Year, a new Ford F-350 truck. You can keep track of the weekly winners on arenafootball.com. We're back with the post-game talk in a moment. TNN Sports live coverage of the Arena Football League playoffs have been brought to you by Ford. The best-selling trucks are Built Ford Tough. So now it is twice in history that Orlando has been eliminated in the opening round of the playoffs. Once by Arizona in 1996, and tonight by Chicago, 41-26. Don't forget, coming up next, Monster Jam will be shown on both the East and the West Coasts. Hope you can stick around for Mike Hogwood and the fellas. And don't forget, playoff coverage continues on TNN tomorrow. New York battling Toronto, 4:30 Eastern and Pacific. Dave Sims and Charles Davis will have that coverage for you. This has been a presentation of the Arena Football League. Permission must be granted by the AFL. For any reproduction or rebroadcast of this ball game, for Jill Arrington and John Yurkovich, I'm Eli Gold. Chicago pulls the upset as we bid you good night from Orlando.